Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and hello, Sean Aylmer.
Hello, Michael.
Sean, on weekdays, it's all about the Fast Five, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. On the weekend, we still keep it to 5 minutes, but we're picking out the biggest story of the week, the sleeper story, the most remarkable story, and our favourite story. It's a bit of a Christmas bumper edition today, so we're going to try and jam as many stories as we can in. What's the biggest story of the week for you?
Well, it's supposed to be Christmas time, but all those corporates out there keep doing deals. BHP finally got Oz Minerals in a $9.6 billion deal. The ACCC blocked a tie-up between TPG and Telstra. Private equity group Pacific Equity Partners dropped a $500 million bid for an education and workforce group. Queensland businessman Clive Palmer sold a nickel and cobalt refinery in Townsville for $1.3 billion. Just a massive week in deals. Michael.
Yeah, huge week. And a huge week for Australia on the world stage. Foreign Minister Penny Wong flew to Beijing for a face-to-face meeting with her counterpart Wang Yi. This is big considering that there haven't even been phone calls really between the two countries in recent years. The Chinese president approved the talks. They'll now broaden to include trade ministers. And considering the crippling tariffs on Australian exports in the last few years, this can only be good news. Also this week we had Kevin Rudd being appointed as the new ambassador to the US, arguably pretty well qualified for the job, PM twice. He was the foreign minister as well. So we can look forward to seeing a bit more of Kevin Rudd in the next few years.
Something to look forward to, Michael.
Indeed. Most remarkable story. I'm going to nominate 2 very quick ones here. Starting with Elon Musk. This week he ran a poll on whether he should quit as CEO of Twitter. The people said yes, so he's going to step down. Though first he said he needs to find someone foolish enough to take on the job. The other remarkable story was also involving a US personality, Donald Trump. A congressional committee examining the attack on the US Capitol almost 2 years ago. They voted to recommend that the US Department of Justice look at criminal charges against the former president for his role in the failed insurrection. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it's still big news.
Big news. My most remarkable story is the one about David Jones, which is owned by Woolworths, based in South Africa, not the Australian crowd, the South African crowd, being sold to Anchorage Capital Partners for $100 million. Woolworths South Africa bought it for $2.1 billion 8 years ago, i.e. they lost $2 billion in just 8 years. Remarkable.
It sure is. Sleeper story. What was it for you?
Peak TV. Apparently Peak TV is over, according to the New York Times. All those stream shows, think Squid Game, Stranger Things, Ted Lasso, White Lotus. We're not going to see anywhere near as many in the future. Why? Because streaming companies, content agencies, media businesses are really finding times tough and they're cutting back on costs. So we just won't see the number of shows that we've seen in the last few years. What about you, Michael?
For me, mine was a story that really actually shocked me. A report that shows there are just 21 female chairs of top 200 companies, so just over 10%. Really surprised because last month there was a new record for the number of female directors at the top 200 companies, just under 36%. But as I learnt this week, one of the reasons for this massive underrepresentation is that the chair tends to come from the ranks of former CEOs, and there just aren't enough female former CEOs at this time, and hopefully that changes into the future.
Fair enough. What's your favourite story for the week, Michael?
This is kind of almost my anti-favourite story. It is about what happened on a Hawaiian Airlines flight about a week ago. Flew into extreme turbulence. 11 people seriously injured, 36 needing treatment, 20 taken to hospital. An official described it as an isolated and unusual event. We've talked a lot about airlines this year, about everyone kind of traveling domestically and internationally. It costs a lot to do it. I think this turbulence is a very compelling reason to holiday at home this year.
Yes, very good point. Look, my favourite story of the week and possibly the year, it's the mining stock in Indonesia that's proved to be the world's best performing investment, at least on major global bourses, rising 1,600% this year. Yep, it's a coal stock, and most of the gains were in the first half of the year. It's called PT Adaro Minerals Indonesia. It's the top ranked of the Bloomberg World Index. Number 2 is Turkish Airlines, a long way behind. Why do analysts like it so much? Because it's taken all that money it's made out of coal and thrown it into other projects like aluminium and battery making for electric vehicles to diversify. It's going from dirty industry to clean industry. Love that story.
Oh, well, there we go, Sean. 5 minutes and pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. We crammed a lot into our special Christmas episode. No Christmas stories, though.
No Christmas Day. You're right. Next year, maybe.
Maybe next year. That's our goal. Make sure you're following the podcast. There is a new episode every day. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is The Fast Five by Fear and Greed.